team if they go out and add to this, right? So, have a little fun here. Let's talk about the Pirates team champions, if you will. Team MVP, like I said, Josh Bell. Most improved player, Josh Bell. Future so bright, you gotta wear shades. I like that. Kevin Newman and Brian Reynolds. The player I'm excited to see is Brian Hayes. And the Pirates Cy Young, Felipe Vasquez. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. How about the Pirate most likely to take a swim?
It leaves the ballpark on the fly. Hello, Allegheny. Josh Bell with the homer.
Hey, here's the thing, and not to keep coming back to the point. This guy's going to do this a lot more. He's the only player ever to hit 2 balls into the Allegheny on the fly. I see him being, he's going to do that on a semi-regular basis. This guy is really good, guys. If you haven't got to see Josh Bell, go check him out, okay? So, we've gone through the Reds. We've gone through the Pirates. What do you guys think? Lou, Kevin, anyone else out there that's with me? Thank you guys, first off, for joining me. This is always more fun when it's interactive. I worked really hard on this material tonight, so I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. So let's talk about the Cardinals. I put the Cardinals third, even though I really do think this is the second best team in the division. They might be the best. It is neck and neck with the Pirates and the Cubs and the Cardinals right now, because if you break it down, they're really comparable teams. Okay, so currently the Cardinals are 21st in batting average, they're 21st in runs, they're 10th in ERA, and they're 10th in WHIP. So they're pitching fairly well. Although I think that's a little bit of fool's gold. No, I'll be totally honest with you. I think their offense is going to pick it up, and I think their pitching is starting to let them down. Okay, they won last night versus the Pirates, 6-5 in 10 innings. Goldschmidt hit a grand slam. Tommy Edman's an interesting guy, right? Here's a guy who, in all honesty, is a nobody. He's just 2% owned. But he's hitting leadoff. That's significant. And that's a pretty good offense, right? And in just 30 games, he's got 4 homers and 4 stolen bases. That's a 22-22 pace throughout the course of the year. So, Tommy Edman is someone who I'm watching, right? He's someone who might be a sneaky ad down the stretch if you need some stolen bases. Not hurting your other categories. Who you could add. Especially as long as he's hitting leadoff, right? But that's not why you came here. You didn't come here to hear about Tommy Edman. The Cardinals are interesting because they really haven't hit that well. And they've got some talent. And you would think they would. When I say to you guys like Ozuna and DeJong and Goldschmidt, Jose Martinez, Yadier Molina, Matt Carpenter, you think that's offense, right? But really, if you look at it, none of them's hitting over 300. There's only 5 guys in double-digit homers. And 2 of those guys have only 10. Dexter Fowler and Matt Carpenter. Okay? Matt Carpenter's only hitting 215. DeJong's hitting 250. Goldschmidt, 248. That's awful. That would alarm a lot of people, right? I tend to take the opposite approach with this. St. Louis is good. They're better than this. And averages always tend to gravitate back towards the norm. These guys are going to end up with better numbers than what they have right now. okay? You want to buy into these guys where you can. Now, I'm not telling you to go sell the farm, but if you can get Paul Goldschmidt for a deal, you better go out and do it. You better go out and do it. If you can get... Now, Carpenter, I'm not sure about because he's injured, right? But here's the sleepers for the Cardinals. There's two of them. There's two guys. One of them we've talked about. One of them we haven't. Okay? I hate to pat myself on the back, but hell, I'll go ahead and do it. I'm the Tyler O'Neill. I hate to copy, but I was early in on Tyler O'Neill. I saw that trend coming. Okay? Tyler O'Neill's been really good. He's hitting .301 with 5 homers, 16 RBIs. He's looked to earn everyday playing time for the most part in St. Louis. The guy who I didn't prognosticate or didn't foresee is Yairo Munoz. Now this guy gives you a little pep on the opposite end of the spectrum. He's played 55 games compared to O'Neill's 38, but he's at .306. And while he only has 2 homers, he's got 5 stolen bases already. So if you need stolen bases, who the hell doesn't? Take a look at Yairo Munoz, right? He is someone who is interesting. Okay, he's also playing most days, more days. Let's say that. Okay, O'Neill has started his last 9 games, and he's hit cleanup in 8 of those games. Munoz has only started 3 of his last 8, but he's appeared in pinch hit in all but 3 games. So he's playing. I know I didn't say that. He's played in 5 of the 8 games. So he pinch hit in 5 of the 8, and then in the other 2 games. So in other words, pinch hit equals stolen base. So if you have a bench player, you might want to consider putting him in there, even if he's not starting. You gotta, like yesterday was a slow lineup day. You put him in there, and you might get a scrap stolen base. That's my only point. Okay, shower leagues, it's not that big a deal, but this is for a deeper league, right? So let's talk about where I think the Cardinals really need to improve their pitching staff. So if you look at their staff ERA, Flaherty at 4.24, Wainwright 4.50, Mikolas actually is at 4.17. I thought that was surprising because he was awful early. Dakota Hudson 3.57. He's 9-4. He's been the Cardinals' best pitcher. But he's been pitching out of the 4th and 5th spot all year long. So really it's hard to give that a whole lot of weight. But the fact of the matter is he's been really good. Okay? He's been better than Flaherty for sure. Michael Wacha, 5.42. Not good, guys. I mean, just not... When you think St. Louis, you think their pitching should be better than that. Okay? What I'm saying is St. Louis needs to go out and address their pitching staff. They need to go out and get a 1 or a 2 starter to be able to combat the Cubs down the stretch. I think it's imperative for them to do that. And in all honesty, there's been a lot of talk about the Cardinals going out and getting a closer. I kind of wonder if that's because they want to put Carmore back in rotation. Because they have a humongous hole at the front end of that rotation. And for that, in order for them to go out and get an ace caliber player, they would have to basically give up the farm. And I know they don't want to do that. I think they would rather put Carmore in, add a supplemental 3 or 4 guy, and not sell the farm. And then, so my point is, I think that makes Andrew Miller an interesting player to look at for holds at the moment, but possibly for saves down the stretch. He and John Gant are 2 guys who I'm definitely watching closely. Okay? Just something to keep an eye on. Again, when these things happen at the trade deadline, there is a ripple effect. So, if the Cardinals don't move and get an elite starting pitcher, you might want to think about what they're going to do with Carmar. Okay? So, again, Cardinals MVP. It's too early to tell. Really have no idea. It's too early for O'Neal, but it's not too late for Goldschmidt. It's not too late for DeJong, Carpenter, or even Marcell Ozuna, who fractured his fingers and he's out to August, to carry the torch for this team. Okay? So the Cardinals team MVP is very much up in the air right now. As is the Cardinals Cy Young. Again, Dakota Hudson's been their best pitcher, but pitching at the back of that rotation, there's not a tremendous amount of pressure on him, whereas Flaherty has the stuff, but hasn't been particularly great. Cardinals newcomer of the year, Tyler O'Neill, as was the fantasy upside. So, again, I'm obviously high on O'Neill. Let's move on. I think the Cardinals are definitely buyers at the trade deadline. I think they need to get a starting pitcher, maybe two starting pitchers, and depending on what they do with Carlos Martinez, a back end of the rotation guy, a closer. So, but they're in it, and they're a really good team, so they need to pay attention, and they need to buy. Excuse me, sell. No, buy. You got it. You know what I mean. Sorry. Let's move on. Let's move on to the Brewers. Here's the team. They got the best player in the National League, probably, in Christian Yelich. They've got power. I mean, let's talk about these numbers, guys. Mike Moustakas at 26 homers. Ryan Braun has 14. Grandal has 19. Thames has 14. Arcia has 12. This is a beer league softball team, guys. That's what the heck this is right now, okay? But here's the problem. Their pitching has completely let them down. Completely let them down. Guys, who is the Brewers' second leading strikeout artist? The leader got hurt. Brandon Woodruff. Now they're saying he's going to be out 6 weeks. That is a devastating blow for the Brewers. It really is. I don't know what they do, how they rebound from that. It makes it really tough. 11-3, a 3.75 ERA, and 138 Ks and 117 innings pitched. That is a frontline starter, someone you can't replace. Now, where do they go from here? I don't know. I would imagine you get some of those guys that they tried early in the year that didn't pan out. The Freddie Peraltas, the Corbin Burns, some of those type of guys to try and step in. But guys, they failed. They didn't do it for a reason. I just don't see them being that effective. Julius Chacin's been a huge letdown. 3-10 with a 5.67 ERA. Zach Davies hasn't been bad. 8-2 with a 2.79 ERA. So he's going to have to pick up the pace, step it up. Gio Gonzalez is 2-1 with a 3.60 ERA. He's going to have to step it up, but it's going to be really hard for them. Okay, I'm not going to go. I think the Brewers on their way out, barring some humongous move at the trade deadline. They just don't have the firepower to do that. Where I am high on the Brewers is the National League Player of the Week. Okay, Keston Hiura has just been lights out. Lights out for the Brewers, okay? On the year, 331, 9 homers, 6 stolen bases. But even more impressive, you have to give me for a second. I got to get down to it. Even more impressive, is what he's done during his Player of the Week honors. He has really been impressive. All right. Got to it. There's a lot. Control fine, guys. So, Keston Hiura, National League Player of the Week, over his last 9 games,